What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Think Welding and More. Today we're going to be working on part 3 of our Nissan Titan roll cage. So let's quit messing around and dive in. Alright, so I'm out here in the truck to show you guys what I've done and what I'm going to do. If you haven't seen part 1, we did the back. Part 2, we did the A-pillar and that one tube. And part 3, we're going to be doing all the diagonals for the roof. Before I start on the diagonals, I went ahead and fit in the dash frame because the tube is going, you know, right behind it. And so I made a cutout and welded a plate and fitted in temporary just so I know that I'm not going to run into problems later. We're gonna move on to working on the top of the roll cage. I'm gonna cut a center tube and then do the diagonals after. You want to leave it loose because those diagonals are gonna be so tight you won't be able to fit them in after. So the idea is you have your center tube tacked in, and then I can move this whole tube back to fit my diagonals. It's a little bit of a pain, but that's the way you got to do it. So let's quit messing around and dive in. Alright, so we got this middle tube cut, coped, and installed in place. It's just sitting up there. When I originally made it, it was straight and I didn't like it. So I put a 7-degree bend in the center, which gives it a little bit more headroom. As you can see, I'm a lot closer up there with that 7-degree bend. When it was straight, it kind of looked generic. You know, that gives it a little bit of flair. I'm gonna do the same thing on the front and, you know, all the diagonals. But it turned out good. It's a good fit. And so what I'm going to do is tack it on this side and leave the 3 other sides loose so I can slide it back after I make the diagonal. It's going to take some process, but the end result will be nice. So let's keep moving forward. Alright, so I'm inside the truck and I'm going to measure for the piece of tubing. I'm going to show you what I like to use, kind of how I do it. I have a measuring tape and a silver marker. I like the silver Sharpies. They stand out good on the black. And then I have my pipe master. That's so I can figure out the cope, and it also helps me with the length of the tubing. So once I fit it on there, the longest point is going to be where my tubing starts, and then when I do the other side, it's going to show me where it ends, and I can get an overall measurement for my piece. I also bring a rubber mallet in here, so if I need to knock anything around, I can, because like I said before, this piece is just sitting up here, and it's not necessarily in the center yet. So you want to make sure it's centered before you start taking measurements. So we're gonna do that and then measure for our cross piece. So I use this longest point to figure out my overall measurement. Alright, now that you've seen me draw the coping on one side of the tube, I'm able to reset it and figure out the other side, and then I will take an overall measurement and transfer it to that tube. If everything goes right, it'll fit perfect. So let's start with that. So what I did is I used the point, I put a mark on both sides, and that's gonna help me with my overall measurement. But like I said, I'm gonna do a 7-degree bend, and that's gonna make it shrink a little bit. So what we'll do is we'll put the bend in it first, and then cut the coping and try and, you know, fit it in. So let's move on. Got my tubing set up, I got it laid out. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it with a cut-off wheel. After that, I'm gonna clean it up and then test fit it in the truck. Alright, so you can see that I have my trusty ratchet strap holding up the tubing for me. I fit in the 3 pieces. After fitting them up, I'm gonna go ahead and tack up this area and then remove it from the truck, weld it on my table where it's most comfortable, and then put it back in. After we put it in, I'll tack up the back portion and then we'll move on to the front of the roll cage. Alright, so you see me weld it up. I put it back in the truck. I tacked the back portion, and now I'm going to work forward towards the front. As far as today, I'm going to call it good for this episode. I really hope you enjoy it. Please give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, share with your friends, and comment. If you have any questions, just ask and I will try and answer them. I'll see you guys next time.